Are we done or has it just begun?
Appears to be done.
Right.
We are now in the like, the sink or swim of the cohorts is up to them, which then I guess the next topic is for us is uh do you guys want to talk about what we liked, what we didn't like, what we can improve upon?
I think it's too early to know too much, right? I mean, because we don't know how it's going to go yet all the way. I mean, in terms of how the initial process worked, I think my only real suggestion, because I'm not, I wasn't involved in building the thing, is have another AMA. It seemed like there was a real, like you saw with Marcus, right? Like a real desire to have something that was improvements. Because I thought you did a banger job, to be honest. I do think that we probably need to figure out coordinate before too long because 3 weeks from now we'll be here before we know it. We should have a coordinate round, kind of dialed in and ready to go. But
Yeah.
but yeah, like amazing. I don't know. I'm really want to know what you guys are going to say in terms of.
I was thinking before even that 3 week mark, if even just the few of us in here or whoever wants to, we could do a trial run just to make sure it actually works. But um, I believe all I need to set it up is your wallet addresses, and I can invite you into the circle. It makes sense. That was like the most excitement, the most engage. It's the campaign. You're on the campaign trail. All the
That's true.
excitement, all the possibilities. Like,
Mm-hmm.
um, yeah, if we could maybe make some multiple events next time, really, you know, build up that engagement. I don't want to say capitalize. That's
But maybe you do 3 events. Like I don't think that there's too low of a number, or rather too high of a number. Like the more engagement, the better. Grab the vibes where you got them. And like we saw, like some Dow Punk, buying during that week, not just people trying to get around civil resistance or folks in
ah,
the grants. Like there was just more sweeping generally.
Moving forward is trying to keep bandwidth in check with everybody,
Mm.
because I think there was a lot of people power used to get it started, obviously, which and everything takes a lot to get something started. So I think as we move forward, I want to try to interested people are, and so especially contributors like you guys. I understand you guys all have families and lives and stuff, and you won't be here forever, and that's fine. But I want to try to not make that come faster than it needs to be either, so.
Um, yeah, let's see. I'm pretty happy with how things have gone overall. Like, I think we did great. I think like just the right people showed up at just the right times, and um, we're able to keep things moving along. And maybe one thing consideration for future is like careful not to underestimate how much time and energy it takes to do things. Just stuff, just simple tasks, and then also the kind of the more inventive layer of things, like the number of iterations that it takes to actually arrive at a good idea, even if that idea was a previous idea, but you had to iterate through different ideas in order to know that the previous idea was like what you actually need to do. Like that's all a critical part of the process. And like I think we definitely underestimated, our targets. And so just recognizing that things take time and being okay with that. And I think like we all handled that pretty well and just kind of kept moving along. And that was cool. So um, that fat, that fat airdrop from CB definitely helped along that way. So thank you for that. um, and
Yeah, Matt. Oh, thank you again.
yeah, yeah. This has been really wonderful, and yeah, looking forward to what's to come.
I mean, all right, I'm going to be critical because I had a lot of thoughts about everything. What I like my biggest thing that I noticed that I didn't think would be a bigger deal until it actually happened was the openness of the standing of the votes. I was I didn't realize how much like I like some like a person who thought an application was good would be less likely to reconsider to vote for them if they already saw what the current standing was. Trying to make that as like invisible or blind to the people as possible.
Mm,
Um,
hmm.
I didn't. Really like kind of like shocked and shocked at like the vagueness of people's self-imposed game like roadmap that they had, or like their self-imposed benchmarks. They didn't really, a lot of people didn't really have any, and I kind of thought I would kind of like to see that. So I'd be interested to achieve their goal, or if we're just like if they'll just vote yes to like give them the other half of their grant.
Yeah, I was thinking that maybe we could have like a specific question of, what will be done by the midpoint, by week 3, or, as long if we're sticking with the 6 week.
Yeah, I agree with both of those sentiments that you just expressed. So +2 on that.
And then what did you what? Oh, sorry.
No, you're good. After we talked about that the other day in the threads, I went and looked through the snapshot settings because I do think it's problematic. All the snapshots that we've done, I don't think I've ever seen one with a blind vote tally. Have you?
Nah.
I've said that, and we were when we were just talking about cult. All their votes, like they tell you upfront what the current standing is, and like even the terror one is open in public.
Of everything being transparent. So even though like Snapshot's not on chain, if it were on chain, I mean, like people think it is, you'd be able to, see how everyone voted, right? Linked to wallet addresses. So I think it's in that ethos. Micah, what are you going to say, bud?
Oh, I mean, I think the function of transparency is kind of important to like trustlessness because if it was opaque, then you'd really be investing a lot of confidence in Snapshot as an organization to like actually count those votes properly. Um, so I mean that's kind of in one sense like the innovation of blockchain is the fact that it's an immutable record that is totally transparent, so that you know how it's going to function before you use it, and you know that it is functioning while you're using it because you can see everything that's happening. But that's definitely a conflict. I think that's a major conflict with like reality. Like we were talking about Constitution DAO, like they were easily upbid because everything they do is completely transparent. And sometimes you need some strategic like opaqueness in order for like democracy to actually function at its like optimal um, zone. Like so, I don't know. It's definitely I think it's a big topic in the space for like, learning and
Yeah, because I was just thinking, like, I understand. I'm all for the transparency bit. Like, my envision of it would be it's blind to the people as voting occurs, but then as soon as voting is over,
mm, hmm
like, oh, this person that you really wanted to vote for has like no votes, and so like you know your vote is more valuable to like a more like a smaller, like to somebody who's like within like closer to it, instead of like the best fit person, but that's a separate issue. That's like an off block. That's not a blockchain issue. That's a more like
yeah. I guess it would be like it might potentially be transparent on the back end, but like the front end like user interface doesn't actually have to like display a running tally. And like if anybody wanted to investigate, like they could, but it's not just like in your face influencing every single person's vote because like they can see it right there. Um, yeah, right on.
um
Yeah, I mean I think I brought up like the concept of like momentum voting. Until after yeah,
Well,
it
Garrett, it's pretty
concludes.
funny you say that. You must have been reading. So it looks like there's something called Snapshot X in the works that
Oh,
integrates Starknet to it. So Stark's like, I think the Stark is a ZK rollup.
yeah.
And so I think that's maybe in the works, man. I don't know. I'm in their Discord poking around right now. professor at Oregon, where she does some writing and some governance work, and they have on-chain voting platform that's sort of about to be released. I did put us on the wait list in case you wanted to test drive it. Seems like that would be an interesting thing to check out on our quest for.
Put it in one of the threads. What did you guys think of the weighted voting? I really liked it. I think it was good. I think it solved. I think it solved a lot of our solid lot. It gave options, and it was a really big hit.
I agree. I liked it too.
Some work.
You know, I think that was a pretty fair. I think it was like a fair. He has every right to do what he wants with his voting power because anybody can do it. But
Right.
but like
the question becomes, would there be a protest if he does?
So he's been a Discord long time supporter. Last time I knew he had 12 or 14. It sounds like he swept the floor once or twice. So,
but I also
I really do think, like, for me, that it was a stark reminder that we do need to move to quadratic voting. Like, I mean,
Yeah.
he was thoughtful enough to spread that out, but I mean, that was just like. For the next round.
I would say that if we got blind, if like it was blind at to everybody, I would say it would still be fine because then like all the like what's the big, I mean, where what's the big thing?
We just haven't got to the point where it's adopted.
Okay, no, that's fair. That's just that. No, thanks for correcting me on that one. I appreciate it.
No, it's all good. I mean, we did a sesh vote on it ages ago, and it was like 43 for, 2 or 3 against. I mean, this is why quadratic voting exists, right? So that you don't have whales coming to change the outcome and have outside.
Drive more value to our NFT, which we want, and that's what we want out of this. Yeah.
But not like that, probably. I don't know. I'm curious about your guys' takes. Micah, what are you trying to say, bud? I'm sorry.
That's all good. I'm curious if like the quadratic voting works with the like distributed voting system that we used. Like how does that apply? Like does it just apply to like the number of votes that one person has is scaled, or the number of votes that they vote on one of the candidates scales back at the quadratic function? Like, I don't know, that's interesting, and I'd be curious to see how Snapshot implements that. I would guess that if you do quadratic, it's just a one vote situation.
Oh, I don't know. I'm gonna fire one up right now just for fun and find out.
Yeah,
Good
actually,
question.
did we ever actually do a test of the quadratic function? Because I thought it was maybe some gray area as far as how it worked. And Yeah. Yeah. They have so minimal documentation on it. It doesn't even describe like what the function actually is that they're using, you know? It doesn't show like where it is, like mathematically how the votes get scaled. It kind of just mentions it. And then I was like tried to get more documentation and somebody pointed me to the GitHub for the code implementation. And I like looked through that and couldn't actually see like where it was, but I'm also not a smart contract developer, so I maybe just missed it. But anyway, I'd be curious to just like test it and do some trial runs and see how it works. Because
Asked a couple of questions on GitHub too and got them answered. So
nice.
yeah, I mean, it's super opaque. I mean, their literature on their voting strategies is thin, shall we say? Yeah, cool.
And I guess the last thing I had to talk cohort 0 is done to start cohort 1.
I mean, for me, I would wait, and that way we don't like burn out too fast. I'm just thinking about ETH and Treasury and how many cohorts we can run without more funding.
Yeah, I had the inclination of like opinion. You wanted to do. I mean, eventually the idea would be to maybe do a lot of these like staggered in parallel. Like you would halfway through one, you would start the next one. But that's also like that would also require that's a lot to put on the community. And that's a lot of like interaction that we would need, and I don't think we're there right yet. Right yet, like
I think what you said it makes the most sense to me. Like, not only waiting to finish the process in its entirety to see what other hiccups there might be, but also, give ourselves time to actually build out new solutions or new, if we have to change the governance framework, for example, or, giving at least some time. Like Maiko says, it is amazing sometimes. Simple things might end up taking, weeks in the DAO space because of working async or whatever else we run into. So I
yeah,
didn't want to
just
rush into the next one.
Um, as a sort of tangential sort of idea along these lines, like the proposal from Dreamer DAO um, to DAO Punks is like to have, we wouldn't have to run a cohort program basically. They would just be interested in us sponsoring 10 of their youth members that they are they do this like kind of incubation program with them, and then they actually get them internships at DAOs for the summer, and they kind of sponsor that with how much did they say? With 15, yeah, 1500, no, $1,500 for the whole summer. And then they also ask the DAO that they place them at to pay them at least minimum wage. Um, and I just was thinking of like CB, brought up the idea a while back of like um, partnering with some existing programs where people are already like receiving training and guidance into the space, and then kind of forging that partnership to sponsor it. And so yeah, that's like an option. I don't know if we may not be able to make a decision within their time preference. Like they want to get these out to their kids like for June. And so it'd be like kind of an immediate like thing. But if not like this round, maybe for their next round, um, something like that. And he suggested that that would like provide like a lot of really positive exposure. They He outlined like some kind of some definitive like ways of reciprocating like that social energy to DAO punks, and then um, also the idea that like some of these kids could come, obviously work at DAO punks or something, if that was an interesting idea for anybody. I asked him like what kinds of things that they tend to be good at and like work in, and he said like they're super good with community and like outreach and social media and all of that stuff. Um, so like I don't know, could be kind of fun to just like hire a TikTok, teenage influencer like Phil Dowpunks. So funny. Um, but yeah, I don't know. I think it seems like a cool idea, and yeah, I don't know. So they're asking for 4 ETH to sponsor 10 um, 15 to 20-year-old members of Dreamer DAO, and that'll like sponsor them to go like intern at some various DAOs through June and July.
'That sounds cool. So are they asking for money? Is that what they're asking for? Or they're just
Yeah.
asking for
Yeah, they're asking
help?
for 4 ETH to sponsor. So basically, like we could think of it as instead of running like a whole grant program and figuring out who to give the grants to, like we're just giving the grants to like these 10 explorers, as they call them, in their program.
15 to 20.
So it's basically the other the in a TLDR version, it's more of like a high level corporate sponsorship for it. They're just asking for money, and like all the heavy lifting has been done, and we can get the goodwill, the free advertising, or the, and they do a lot of like the mentorships, and they're putting it into specific areas. But this is all I'm like, but this question is also a very I didn't know how to I was like, oh, it's only 4 ETH. I was like, but I don't know who like how this will go over, and if this is like what kind of like if even if this sounds great. I don't this may be the first time I've ever heard of like us sponsoring another DAO in this capacity.
Yeah, I mean it's almost like somebody would just kind of put this up as a proposal to the whole community and have a snapshot vote on it or something like that. Um, Kind of thing, because it's obviously it's a departure from our existing like ratified grants program that the punks voted on. So it'd be like, oh, here's an option, like do we want to vote on this as a community? um, and I will say that like Dream DAO like has a lot of really positive exposure in the like regenerative finance space and the kind of like solar punk kind of public goods. Like vibe. Gary in particular, who I'm talking with about the partnership. Like, and I met him at the Refi Summit in Seattle. Like, he's got a pretty like strong influence on like the whole regenerative finance community. Like, he's got a pretty solid like Twitter following, and he's like regularly posting all kinds of stuff about the Web3 space and like really positive things going on in there. So I would say like this partnership like probably would represent a like pretty healthy like kind of exposure into like the kind of solar punk regenerative space. Um, and I gotta say too, I was mad chilling when I was at the Refi conference too. I brought my Dow Punk shirt, and I don't really know at least like three people who bought Dow Punks like right there after I told them about like what we were doing and stuff. So that was cool. Um, they He outlined in here, I'll just say like what he said specifically about, they said, to commemorate and announce this gift, we would write a tweet thread announcing the gift and do a Twitter Spaces with the Dowpunks team. After Explorers program ends at the end of July 2022, we would also release a blog post featuring testimonials about why the gift was tremendously valuable to their development as Web3 contributors. And then he also like brought up future like raise opportunities like for us about like how we're gonna continue to like refund our own treasury. And he was just expressing interest in like helping to do a Dow Punks V2 launch if that was ever in our playbook. Like, so he kind of brought that up, and I was like, yeah, that's not really something that we've been talking about much, but he seemed pretty like all about it, like it was just definitely something we should do in order to raise more money for the treasury. But anyway, yeah.
Maybe we just need to put something together. Maybe do like even a soft vote on Discord or something, and it seems to get some interest. And maybe just it's snapshots, and it's like, hey, should this be the next cohort? And kind of the rationale behind it.
No, that's what I was thinking too. CB is like do us like
That'd be nice, yeah, because then we don't have to do a lot of heavy lifting. We're kind of just like the money man, which is nice sometimes.
yeah, and I think that's part of the proposal though. Like it'd be dope to get those kids in the Discord. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
And then we do the same thing, run some AMAs, throw them on the podcast, maybe do a spaces. Like, I mean,
Yeah, I mean, it seems like the exposure that this would generate is more broad than the exposure that we're generating ourselves, by running it
yeah.
like internally.
Well, and this is not similar to what we were talking about with the kernel, right? In some ways, except we'd be, funding directly as opposed to poaching people out of kernel. Like, do you have a sense of like their Twitter followers and Discord members and stuff? I mean, I've seen it around, but I just don't know anything about it.
Um, yeah, I would say like whatever the number is on that, the quality of their integration with like the regenerative community, like Owaki and Gitcoin, and just like all that. Actually, Owaki like leads like kind of a course for the explorers, I guess is what they told me, which is pretty cool. I'm a huge fan, founder of Gitcoin, but like that kind of thing. So like Gary Shang himself, who wrote this proposal, like he has about 5,000 followers on Twitter. Let me see what DreamDAO has going on. They have 3,600 followers. Oh, I guess Gary was actually featured like 30 under 30 In what magazine was that? Freaking
Forbes.
yeah, Forbes 30 under
Yeah,
30. So
my
um,
sister-in-law was on Forbes for 30 under 30.
what? That's awesome. Cool. Yeah. Okay, cool. I'll send him a message. I'll ask him what their time frame is. And I'll let him know that we're gonna do a temperature check and then give him the chance to, if this was like an internal oriented proposal, he has a chance to make it more of like a community-wide like snapshot vote proposal. And but we might just use I mean, we can just link to the same document. Um, and Cool, man. Yeah, this is great. I mean, okay, so think about the numbers here too. Like, we give 4 ETH to them. They distribute that directly. Like, they're not using any of that for their own overhead. Like, that goes directly into the hands of these youth. And when we're running it ourselves, like, we have, there's the 2.25 ETH of the initial proposal that Garrett and Stubbs and I put up, and then there was the additional like 5 ETH or 6 or however much that CB dished out to like also kind of cover like the realistic labor costs of like putting this together, which will be less for the next round, since we already figured out a lot of stuff. But like, so you think we used 3 ETH to distribute to 3 people, and then we used another 2.25 ETH to pay folks to run the grant program. So you've got 5.25 ETH that cohort one costs, potentially, and then versus this, which costs 4, and it sponsors 10 people.
Kids of that age involved in DAOs and in this space. Like that's exactly what we want to encourage. I think it's great.
Nice.
Yeah, I like it. Sounds cheaper and it sounds more effective.
Yep.
I like those.
That's awesome. Yeah, Gary is in the he's got a punk, so he's in the grants channel too. So we can just tag him when we're formulating that temperature check poll, and I guess make an announcement about it and all that good stuff.
Zero is announcements. What do you guys think? Did we do enough announcements? Were they good? Where should we do more, less? And also, what did you guys think about the week-long poll?
I think the amount of announcements was good. I think tomorrow we should try to talk about, what are some next steps in terms of if we do some talks with them at some point, people can listen to that or listen to recordings, or if we do any write-ups or anything. I think we should try to only announce things of value moving like at this point with the cohort grantees.
Yeah, and I was very cautious to like make sure not to announce every day, except for towards the end. I'm like, please vote. Um, but I didn't know what you guys thought of it, if it was too much or too little.
I thought it was good. I thought for how small our community is, I think seemed like a decent amount of people.
So I'm going to record those guys on a podcast on the 2nd. If you guys want to do it as part of like a larger thing, like if anybody wants to join in on that, are you available on the 2nd, which is next Thursday?
What time on Thursday? Around then.
Yeah, me too. I'm open that anytime. So just let me know whatever time you know then.
Okay. I mean, if you guys go. Sorry, go ahead. You guys want to? I mean, so if I just say like I'm just staring at a lettuce right now, and I know that if we try to coordinate on another lettuce, like it's going to get confusing.
Might be better. I have like the movement town hall at 1, so it'd be a little bit sandwiched. If we,
Yeah, no, that's 11's cool with me if it's good with you guys.
Yeah, 11 works for me.
So that's for the podcast with all the grantees.
Yeah, with all the grantees, we'll just get like all 8 of us on a chat. It'll be great. It'll be like a little round table.
nice.
Yeah.
Are you doing like
Skype's probably best
Restream
for
or
that.
something for the podcast, or what do you?
Well, I use Zencaster.
Cool.
I know Mina had some interest in trying to dial it in. I just haven't heard from her regarding times and don't want to wait anymore. So then maybe she can make that as well, and we'll see. Cool. All right, then that's it. We'll do 11 o'clock Pacific time on June 2nd.
In my calendar.
Talk a little bit more about anything else we want them to do and just kind of plan it out.
Yeah, I think that's just about it for today. Anybody else? I'm gonna shill this more because like I'm actually like I'm so happy I got like this works, but Rarity Sniffer is up and working.
Heck yeah.
What circumstances they charged a fee for, and I couldn't find any, and I was like, I was like, we'll see. Like, if they yell at me for like, if they send me an invoice, like I'll figure it out from there. But I'm like, it seemed like they're like, if you fit our criteria, it'll be free. And I was like, I don't know what that is, but like, I'll just try it. And so yeah, it took like, they
That's so awesome. I was looking at that. I was looking at that today.
Pastor new since launch to do that.
People have been testing you since launch. Now he's got his sick live fast on the blue check mark, and people will be happy.
I'm like Mr. Modulus. I'm like, somebody go do it. I'm just waiting.
So would you like? So I was also like I was also going to say this for later, but like, do you guys would you be okay if I just filled out the form for the
and see what questions they asked. But I remember when I did it, they were like requiring to send like proof that you created the artwork. And so I had to send like render files and stuff. And I did all that and never heard back. So it's just a waste of time. But they may have changed obviously how they do it. So they might have a better way of doing it.
improve the it. Like I'm scoping out like other like high profile like NFT projects to just see what they like. What do they do, or what do they use to like assign like high like value? And that's how I stumbled into Rarity Sniffer. I was just like, eh. I was like, do you guys know of anything else that I can look
Kind of scammy, but I don't know.
Yeah. All right.
Thanks for doing that
Well,
stuff.
I'll look at. I'll like I said, I'll just continue to like creep in these like other areas to see what they talk about, to see what else I could extract and apply to us. But I'll try to avoid things that which is not something you can measure. They assign like sub traits to it that you can create to assign better rarity, but they're like, oh, it costs like to get listed, it's like a minimum of 2 ETH, and I was like, yeah, no thanks.
Yeah, we'll just wait till ETH is like $30 and then we'll pay it.
Whichever one comes first, hopefully the latter.
Yeah, I've been more counterculture with the whole blue checkmark stuff. To be honest, I just like I don't personally see the value in it, but I can see how like newbie people, you know, put value associated to it. So
Avoid
If
scams, I
it,
guess. Yeah.
it to me it doesn't it doesn't it doesn't you know.
yeah, I know there was a thing going around where OpenSea wasn't giving any blue check marks to anything with DAO in the name, but I'm looking at it now. It looks like they fixed that. So like Link's DAO is verified, and like Pixel Vault DAO is. So and Monkey Bet DAO, which was the world's best rug.
Hey guys, shameless plug, but this is something I'm kind of proud of right now. I just like published my very first ever article, which is fun. Yeah, it's like an introduction to regenerative finance, and I just posted a link to it in the DAO General channel. So if you're into it, it's kind of a short read. Check it out and let me know what you think.
Oh, that's a dope though. I'm so excited. Yeah. I'll crib it all.
Okay, yeah. Oh, did you see it? Yeah.
Awesome. I'll check this out.
Hey, it would
I like
just probably get a lot more exposure that way than me posting it. So go ahead, man. Do that.
Well, I mean, this is so like no joke. If you want to, Maiko, like, you could. Well, do you ship it through Movement or not?
Yeah,
Not through your own.
I shipped it through Move. I mean, I posted. I think it says that I wrote it, right? But it's on the Movement blog. I mean, they paid me to write it, so yeah.
And then we could edit it up, give it some more art, but you have nice art, and then ship it out to like. I mean, so we have 54,000 Twitter followers.
Dang.
But you've already done it. Either way, though, super
Yeah.
dope. Well done, dude.
Yeah, man.
It's so fun to publish your first thing, isn't it? Like,
It
kind of
is.
nerve wracking, awesome.
Yeah. Yeah, totally. It really is. Yeah. I mean, yeah, and I'm excited for more, So any ideas like that. I'm still learning how this whole like internet writership kind of like process like really works, and the the ways of actually like of gaining like value from this, other than just like sharing your ideas and hoping it gets out there. But what if you have like opportunities like that within the Writers Guild and stuff, I'm definitely interested in that kind of stuff. So,
You can always come write for us, brother. A lot of people when they ship articles, generally like to do tweet threads out of them.
mhm. Mm, nice. Yeah. Thanks, man. Yeah, we did a podcast too. Yeah, I got like a podcast mic. Um, I'll link to that one too if you want to hear it for movement.
Yeah,
Pretty cool.
Oh yeah,
yeah.
drop it in.
You got to shill your own bake sometimes, dude. Like I get it, part of the deal.
Well, part of it is just like, y'all are my community, and it's just like, it's just like stuff I've been working on, and I'm excited to share that with y'all.
But
The algorithm favors. And another thing too is, by the way, a nice trick that you should employ, Maiko, is like you can retweet your own tweets. So like I saw you posted it. So give it like a couple hours and then retweet it, and then give it a couple hours and then unretweet it, retweet it again.
Oh
Just
my
do that a
God.
bunch of times.
Mm,
Basically saying that like, oh, the other 2,800 people that follow me wouldn't be interested, which is just stupid. So like if I go see a post that has low impressions, I'll just retweet it to push it to more people.
mm,
Um,
hmm,
so you really have to do that yourself, because don't let Twitter decide if your stuff is worth it or not. You need to.
mm.
Deploy, it employs this. Nobody knows about it really, so it's really a great hack.
Nice. Thanks, man.
that's cool. How can you find your analytics?
On the desktop, you might be able to do it on your phone too, but on desktop, on your post, you'll see like the little bars next to share button. Just click that.
Oh, I see. When you the little the three dots, the pull up things, there's a view tweet analytics.
I don't see that on mine. The ones that like, view tweet analytics. Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, and then check that out.
I had to dig real far back into like my oldest tweet because I don't tweet. And I was just like, oh shit,
Yeah,
400.
I think the problem that I see is
I was I've had this conversation with uh my sister-in-law whose entire thing is social media, and I've heard the what you got to do for it. It's hilariously like it's a job. It's a job in and of itself, and you
Okay, cool.
that works.
That's awesome. Nice. Yeah, thanks. I definitely noticed like so I was using Instagram for a while before like using Twitter, and I was kind of used to the ratio of general engagement per how many followers you have like on Instagram, and I went over to Twitter and the ratio is like way lower, and at first I was taking that to heart, and then I looked at other people's accounts who have like way more followers and seeing like, oh, okay, they only get like 10 or 20 likes on their shit sometimes, too, even though they have like hundreds of thousands of followers or whatever. It's kind of interesting, like that ratio is just like different just by like the nature of the platform somehow.
Yeah. Yeah, it's interesting. So I'm gonna retweet one of my posts right now. Boom.
I was thinking the same thing. I'm over here trying to figure which one to retweet. I think decentralized law from yesterday.
That's awesome.
It's amazing.
All right. Oh, because it's pinned, it doesn't show it as the retweet at the top of your.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh,
So if it's not pinned and you start retweeting and you go through your timeline, you'll actually see that there's a ton of retweets. So usually if you're done like retweeting that post, I would just say just go back and clean your stuff up so it doesn't look ridiculous. But
cool.
yeah, that's a good strategy. A lot of people.
Nice. Yeah.
Two up from the blue button if you're on the desktop.
Look at that. It
Enjoy.
was a Twitter masterclass.
I'd say so.
On here, if when we're not recording, I'll tell you some other stuff.
Ooh,
Yeah.
more dark secrets.
All right. Enjoy. Much love, guys.
Want to hear your hacks live fast?
So